Bottom side, handed over to RRQ. And you guys did mention during the drafts, this is what would happen to Dyron.
Yep, he's trying. Infernal pursuit up. SOD hits it. Tsujin secures the turtle. Shields for the kingdom. Down goes Fabian and RRQ. But they're not done. They're looking for the trade. Weedy with a kick. Gets Toy down. One more. Weedy kick and Dyron 6 feet under the ground.
The Purify this time around. So it is a valuable target.
Whoop, onward. Compromising Edok. He does get out of that L brush. That's where the damage is being dealt, and down goes Weedy. And Ara.
Interesting thing is Fabian is going for his build earlier on. Wait a second, that's a jump.
That is a Tsunami Slam displacing Weedy. He answers back in kind. Flickering in, does not get the kick, gets his Immortality pop. And Rin's popping his ult this time around. Before he dies, Fabian finds him, traded out 4 with Weedy and Yehezkiel. Finally, the Usurper falls as well. Dyron keeping everyone honest. RRQ can't pre-hit. In comes the Mercenary, gets a double, and Dyron takes care of the last member of the cavalry. It's not a remarkable stat he has on the Edith.
What?
So, don't make it work. RRQ HOSHI puts Bruno into Toy.
Dive coming through from TLID.
Yeah, better coverage now compared to what RRQ brought into game 1. That was way too much of a top-heavy lineup. Here, they're aware, especially since they had to give up the Cho over to Weedy, and they had to give Fabian the joy once again. And of course, Yehezkiel's comfort mid. What is going on with these previously artillery mages now playing front line? Rin seems to be the only one we can trust to say, hey, if you can play Sicilian, always play Sicilian.
That's the thing about Rins. He's always been a very aggressive mid laner, so the fact that he's stuck on heroes like the Sicilian is actually quite interesting. He's still very, of course, you know, dependable and consistent, but I guess we won't be able to see that flair when he's on something like the Valentina, so maybe that's why we saw the Valentina ban earlier.
Yep, as well to cover up for the Edith. Again, that spelled everything out for Team Liquid ID. Lane to lane, it looks like Fabian is trying to give Dyron here a little bit of a headache. Well, down bottom, these roamers are babysitting their gold laners. They don't want anything fishy happening, you know, stumbling their investments early on.
Yeah, especially a big, you know, considerable amount of focus from TLID onto the gold lane, right? The Bruno needs a little bit more snowballing, so I think that's what we're seeing right now reflected into the gameplay of the laning phase. But as these teams are getting past that laning phase, it's also important to note that Yehezkiel opted for Impure Rage this time on the Jushin. It's not something that we see too often. He's usually more, you know, utility focused with the fighter emblem.
The Brave Smite. Yeah, but here instead, he wants to do a little extra damage and heal up a little bit more mana, maybe spelling out a more aggressive early game. But RRQ HOSHI are first to the turtle here. Team Liquid ID has no room to contest. They can't even cross the river at this point. What's going on?
So what's their plan of action here? They let go of the turtle. There seems to be a rotation towards the bottom side of the map, but RRQ are very quick on this too.
Dear God, Edok forcing Yehezkiel to back off. Already spent that Purify Crimson Beacon forward. Edok, about half health, gets hit with a chokeslam. Crimson Flare allows RRQ to draw first blood.
All right, so that's the trade, right? They're looking for a little bit more pickoff instead of these neutral objectives. They don't want to overcommit into something that perhaps they aren't ready for. Considering Tsujin on the Hayabusa, a little bit more, I would say, early folk. Would you consider a Hayabusa more early compared to the Joy, who needs a little bit more items?
Yep, so Tsujin, as soon as he hits level 4, reaches a peak of his utility. Again, the only thing that makes a Hayabusa better come the late game is just his damage output, you know? Once he picks up the Malefic Roar, the Blade of Despair, like that's what makes him better in finishing the job. But he's still the same kind of hero ever since he starts hitting level 4. So now, Liquid knows that. I'm seeing shades of game 1. I don't know, it turned out maybe Liquid will start taking down Edok up to the point where RRQ HOSHI start to doubt themselves.
Maybe. Let's see how this all pans down, because like we mentioned, I think even pre-game, RRQ HOSHI is a team that requires opportunities also made in by Edok. He's one of the key players of this team, so if Edok gets shut down, if Rins gets shut down, it's a Hail Mary from there. We do see an invade coming through from RRQ onto the purple buff.
That's huge. 4 members of RRQ threatening Fabian's purple. I could only guess if Fabian actually got it because both junglers actually hit that retry. Where's Fabian? What's the Usurper doing?
We'll see in just a bit.
He
Oh,
got it.
He has it. He has it.
All right. So, you know, the cavalry can rejoice knowing that. despite RRQ HOSHI actually having a small gold lead.
141, but it's still very back and forth, very ping pong in this early game. Again, TLID are playing this very patiently, though it looks like this time they're looking for the contest.
Oh, Tsunami Slam answered by Eroshiki's SOD. Look at this. Tsujin securing that turtle, but the first to fall will actually be a member of the kingdom. Down goes Edok. Fabian getting out of there. The rest of Team Liquid ID charging forward, galloping towards RRQ's jungle as Dyron tries to stop him with an infernal pursuit. Gets a little bit more. Oh, Tsujin coming through, dashes back. Not worth it, says the mercenary, and RRQ HOSHI back off.
1-for-1 trade, a turtle for Edok earlier on. And again, with Edok taken out so early before the team fight even occurred, RRQ technically don't have any stoppers. Sure, there's a little bit of displacement coming in from Dyron, but in the grand scheme of things, TLID have a lot more tools that they can play with, right? They have Yehezkiel, they have Aran, and they have Weedy to cause these, displacements from happening in these team fights.
You're talking about many tools. One of those RRQ HOSHI is missing is actual peel. None of their heroes actually take a hit the way you want them to. Sure, Dyron can be in the front lines, but he can only do so much. He can't even get out of there most of the time because he's going to use his Purify, his Flicker, to reposition, and he's going to get caught out here. This is what we were talking about. Way the Dragon committed the takedown. Dyron, he goes underneath tier 2 in mid, headed out for Aran, but they're not done. Weedy gets away with it. SOD finds its mark. Eroshiki with a Spear of Misery. Taken Rins into that wall. Tsujin falls first, gets another, serves it up to Fabian. Rins has fallen. They're not over with it. Oh, tried to get the Tsunami Slam, but mid-air gets taken care of. 3-for-1. Team Liquid ID gets the kills.
They do, and they get 2 kills onto Aaron Shiki on the Moskov in the lane against Toy on the Bruno. So not the best scenario, I would say, for RRQ, as they also lose their mid turret. In accordance to that, a 1,000 gold lead now for TLID.
Expected to balloon even further, Eterna, because down bottom, they got that chubby wave with the untouchable one escorting it. And then this top lane also has that wave that Fabian could have committed to. But oh, wow, that's all he needed. He trusted the Siege Minion to do the job.
Yeah, didn't even need it. So TLID pick up yet another thing on top of what looks like a turret in the bottom side, handed over to Eren Shiki. And you guys did mention during the drafts, this is what would happen to Dyron.
Yep, he's trying. Infernal pursuit up. SOD hits it. Tsujin secures the turtle. Shields for the kingdom. Down goes Fabian and Eren Shiki, but they're not done. They're looking for the trade. Weedy with a kick. Gets Toy down. One more. Weedy kick and Dyron 6 feet under the ground. 2-for-2 the trades. RRQ HOSHI does walk away with a turtle 3-for-3, but suffered losses on the way.
They did, but the way that they played that team fight was so patient as well, right? They waited for the SOD to land. They knew that the SOD would land, and then Tsujin utilized his arsenal. We'll see it here in the replay. There he used Shadow Kill very patiently in order to be able to take down Eren Shiki, one of the main factors in these team fights, to be able to take control over RRQ, and then the rest is history.
Yeah. I think Liquid were just trying to get back a little bit of value. They did trade down. That was their gold laner and their jungler for, what, frontliners? So that's a small win for RRQ. And again, I think they had their eyes on the turtle anyways. But for now, Liquid has a pretty solid 1,000 gold lead. Where's the gold on? Majority of it is on Fabian, sure. And then a little bit of it is on, wow, Weedy?
Yeah.
How's Weedy making this much money over Edok? Well, Edok dies a lot.
I mean, Woody's 303 right now.
Oh, yeah. Carry Cho?
I don't know. I guess he's, he put on the seatbelt and was like, you know what, maybe I'll get the job done here in the mid game. But
he's in for the ride.
He is. He definitely is. 303 at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Still looking for these opportunities, but he knows that Rins is not rocking the Purify this time around. So it is a valuable target.
Whoop, onward. Compromising Edok. He does get out of that L-brush. That's where the damage is being dealt, and down goes Weedy. And Eren Shiki with an SOD, popping Edok from downtown. But still a winning trade for RRQ HOSHI. They make a beeline for the Lord.
Absolutely, 2-for-1 trade. TLID went all in onto Edok, who naturally didn't get taken down as soon, but they wasted so many resources that RRQ HOSHI was able to punish and capitalize over that fact. So now RRQ are the ones walking away with the Lord. We'll take a look at the instant replay right now. See, that's the jump in through. You see Fabian not actually committing to that. Really good SOD at the end to make it a bit of a trade, but in the end, TLID in these team fights, a little messy.
Messy as it is, Liquid ID are getting away with more than a lesser team would. They plan out these fights so that if anyways they lose, something gives on the map. That Lord and those 2 kills, they got 1 kill and a turret down bottom. So it's diminishing returns, yes, because eventually there will be less turrets to try and trade bodies for. Liquid ID has to clean up their act, because if not, RRQ HOSHI are going to scale out of control. Again, you're still looking at a Bruno, you're still looking at a Sicilian, and look at how far back Liquid gets pushed in.
Yeah, that's the Lord going to be taking down that second tier turret. I think the shield should pop. And it does.
Wow, that is the worst way to pop it. They wasted that. They could have kept that shield for like 2 more minutes.
Yeah, unfortunate stuff. But the fortunate thing for TLID is the fact that RNG has hit his power spike, right? Already with the Corrosion Scythe, the Golden Staff, and the DHS.
Le Trinity.
The Trinity of attack speed.
Yes. And they gotta watch out. He no longer will just need to hit these SODs. Like, he will be a legit threat in team fights. A Spear of Misery will now be the death of Rins if he doesn't reposition himself accordingly. Toy even, who if he doesn't do like Savero last night, or if he does like Savero last night and refuse to press the Purify, then it's over. You know, the comeback is set for Liquid ID, but the window is very small.
Very, very. They're on a timer right now, especially like you mentioned. The scaling coming from RRQ is still on the table. It's still a looming threat to TLID right now as we're entering the 11th minute of the game. Interesting thing is Fabian is going for his build earlier on. Wait a second, that's a jump.
That is a Tsunami Slam displacing Witty. He answers back in kind. Flickering in, does not get the kick, gets his Immortality pop. And Rins popping his ult this time around before he dies. Fabian finds him, traded out for with Witty and Yehezkiel. Finally, the Usurper falls as well. Dyron keeping everyone honest. Aaron Shiki can't pre-hit. In comes the Mercenary, gets a double, and Dyron takes care of the last member of the Cavalry. It's a wipeout.
RQ say, hey, TLID in that first game, you were able to wipe us out in the final stage of the game. Here, let's see how you do with a taste of your own medicine.
And they are in the base, just waiting for the waves to come in. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a ball game. 1-1. RRQ take game 2.
Ooh, an equalizer to the series, ladies and gentlemen, as RRQ is going to be able to find victory in our second game of this best of 5. We're going to pull over Gideon and Lafell back into this. What do you guys think?